how we doing, folks? It's Sunday night. It's Audio Who for your listening delight. And today we have gathered to talk a little Time War double escapade for Sarah Sutton and Carole Ford in the short crypt range with a heart on both sides and all hands on deck. 30 minutes of fun and frolics on the edge of the Time War with Paul McGann's Doctor. But what did we think? How were they received? You're about to find out. But before we get to that, let's get to this. It's your panel for this evening. Joining from NYC, it's Mr. Will Medina. How goes it, Will?
Hey now, how you doing, everybody?
Good to see you, mate. All the way from Corpus Christi, he has a beard that must be feared. Texas Tim Wells, chilling on a Sunday. How goes it, Tim?
Hello.
Good to see you, mate. It's Monday morning. He has the thunder. Coffee be damned. Hey, Jay. How goes it, man?
Hi, guys. How are you?
And joining us all the way from Tottenham with his best Uncle Tom Cobley impression, it's the birthday boy. It's Philip Archer. How are you doing, Phil?
Hello. I need more birthday cake. There you go.
You've had your cake and you ate it a long time ago, son. So there you go. Yeah, happy birthday, mate. Many happy returns. So, guys, two short trips here. We will begin at the beginning, as they say, with the first release, with Sarah Sutton and A Heart on Both Sides. Opening thoughts for you, please, AJ. Sarah Sutton, Heart on Both Sides.
Yeah, I like this. I like the story with the perspective of Nyssa during the events of the Time War. It seems it's pretty early, where she's almost like a MASH doctor going around and just treating the people who are, getting the effects of the Time War and making them as comfortable as possible. It was a really good story.
Yep. All right. Thanks, mate. Philip, Heart on Both Sides.
On both sides. Very good. Very good, I felt. It's nice that they kept in keeping. This is after she left the doctor's side, she joined a hospital ship where she goes around the universe treating people with Lazarus disease, something like that. There was some sort of disease. And yet here she is on the edge of the Time War, treating other the small colonies being affected by the Time War itself. And I like the fact that I was a bit confused with the fact that she didn't kind of recognize that Dr. Foster was actually the Doctor, because as Tim, you always have to say that the Doctor is the Doctor, so he's the same man. So I'm using that. I'm saying to myself, she would have recognized his what's the word I'm looking for? His
mannerisms.
Yeah, his mannerisms and his idiosyncrasies, that kind of thing. So I was kind of like bummed out she didn't recognize him, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, there's a few throwbacks in this. The name of a trick obviously being a ship obviously being the Traken, as well as a few other turbo warps and whatnot on a ship and all that. What was the wee robots she had? The wee medical bots? There was a term for them.
Oh, the medical sisters. Robots? The sisters.
Oh, just the sisters. Oh, there you go. Shows you I need to pay attention, but yeah, they were decent the way they diagnose things. But yeah, I see, each to your own, Phil. Timbo, opening thoughts, Heart on Both Sides.
Well, to answer your question, Phil, I think the Doctor was willfully trying to not let her know that he was the Doctor, so that's probably why she didn't pick up on it. And to be fair, other than spending about 10 minutes with the Fourth, she really spent a good chunk of her lifetime with the Fifth, so that's pretty much the only guy she really knows, even though she's probably bumped into a few of the other specials. But you get my point. It's a good story. I like the way they keep you guessing. The fact you don't know that Dr. Foster is the Doctor. You find out at first he's a Time Lord, and then all of a sudden you find out it's the Doctor in disguise, which is really clever. And then of course that the villain of the piece was a Time Lord and actually had her heart removed so that they wouldn't recognize her as the Time Lord. I like that, the double bluff they pulled there on these characters. So that made it pretty interesting to listen to. I thought it was a fun listen. Yeah. As far as the Time War, I think we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, no bother. Okay. Who was that? Phil?
William.
No, I thought he was echoing there. Sorry about that. Will, what about you, mate? Opening thoughts?
Like Texas said, it was unexpected to find out that the other woman was a Time Lord herself, that she was sent there by the Time Lords to start a situation where they could take over that planet themselves, since it was being used as a fuel thing. But it was good to see how the Doctor was with Nyssa, even though she didn't knew he was the Doctor. And you gotta notice that this a lot of years. It's a lot of years after the Nyssa was with the fifth Doctor, and that was the last Doctor she remembers because she never met. By this story, she never met his sixth incarnation or seventh incarnation. So so that was pretty good. It was a little. I wish it wasn't a short trip. I wish this story could have been a little bit extended and added as one of the stories that in the upcoming Time War that's coming up. Because I would have loved to have seen the way they talk to each other. McGann interaction. You see how it was like. Maybe he would have brought up because if you notice that she did mention how she remembered his fifth incarnation and stuff like that, and he was acting different. Like Phil brought up that his mannerism was different, and of course Texas said that he was being disguised, but he didn't want to get her in trouble, and like bring problems to her like that. So that really brought out. But this one thing that sticks out is as we know that this is getting into the Time War, and then how bad things are getting, that the Time Lords are resorting to take over planets and start espionage and all that for they could get their way. So that was a very bad thing. But this story does stick out very well. But like I said, I wish it could have been added to the Time War box that is coming up soon.
All right, fair enough, mate. And for me, yeah, it's a decent outing. It's good to get a perspective on where Sarah Sutton's Nyssa character is around about this time period. It's nice to see that she's continued on her work in terms of when we last seen her on TV and Terminus, wasn't it? Obviously a different ship, her own ship by all reckoning, and she's got her own eccentricities and quirks within it, so she's carrying on her good work, and a nice wee half-hour outing when McGann's daughter, albeit unbeknownst to her. Some might say the story's a wee bit simplistic, but hey, it's a fun ride, so it's enjoyable enough. Right, guys, any events within this tale stand out for you? AJ?
Yeah, in the story, I like how Dr. Foster mentions, I've regenerated 3 times and I had to travel back in time to make sure you didn't recognize me. And she didn't even realize that line. I don't think most of us did. Because apparently Dr. Foster was the Doctor, which was a cool little thing. He was her companion.
Yeah.
So it was her adventure, not his, which I thought was a pretty cool idea.
Fair enough. That's how these short trips tend to be. Tim, how you feeling?
Well, I would just say that Sarah Sutton did a pretty good job of juggling the different characters. She put on a couple of accents here and there that were pretty noteworthy, so I thought that was effective for a short trip. Also, I'd say that the production on it seems to have gotten better on short trips lately. There's more sound effects and music than there used to be, it seems like. So that's always a good thing. Yeah,
I totally agree with you on that. The production is getting a little better on these wee outings for the companions. Philip, how about you, mate?
Well, I like the where the Doctor's trying to dodge the nurses throughout the wards and things, because they're shooting darts at him, and
yeah,
because that villainous woman is saying, "Oh, he's the Time Lord, he needs to be captured. He's the one causing the explosions." Yeah, and I thought that was quite clever as well. How he worked out that woman, I can't remember her name. If someone can tell me her name, she was the one responsible for all the sabotage and bombings and all that. And
yeah,
and the fact that, as Tim alluded to, that she had her heart taken out just to hide her Time Lord heritage, that word. So that was good. Yeah. So I like the way he was being hunted out by the nurses.
All right, and also it was interesting that the toxic gas didn't affect her either.
Yes.
No, the praxis gas didn't affect her because she herself was taking the medication that was used later in the story to cure the Doctor from.
Oh, there you go. I must have missed that. Right. Well, there you go. Since you chimed in, well, anything else stand out for you, mate?
No, I liked how the other woman was the one that was the one doing the explosion and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit confused because she removed her heart. But I thought Time Lords needed both their hearts to live. Because if one is removed, I thought maybe the other one wasn't going to function very well.
In a sense, she just practically handicapped herself. She hasn't kind of like the Time Lord herself. She just kind of handicapped it. And they can always put it back if they have to. I mean...
Put it back?
Well...
But she was walking around with a scar right here, so that tells you,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, scar on the booby. Yeah. Go figure.
It is a sticky point,
Sorry,
though, because I'm sorry. It's just you would think that in that future they would also have other ways of telling who's a Time Lord and who isn't, just by the number of hearts they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very
Yeah.
true. AJ?
Yes.
Sorry, mate, I thought your box up there for some reason. I thought you were chiming in with something.
No, I was muted.
All right, no bother. For me, for a short trip, hell, a lot of implied off-air body count with the whole, population of the planet, and this one kid lying in his bed trying to point out the villain of the piece before he pops his clogs. It was just, it was nice, it was short, it was compact, and it was a decent story to flex Sarah Sutton's acting chops. As Tim alluded to, she put on a couple of accents, and nice and compact is what I'd say. For a short trip, 30-35 minutes, you can't really grumble. And with that, guys,
Can I just add that it's kind of interesting that although the Eighth Doctor always said to us he doesn't want nothing to do with the Time War, he's always very close to the action anyway in regards to this. So he's basically next door.
He doesn't have a choice.
No.
Yeah, true.
He doesn't have a choice because you know where he's gone. He's gone to Night of the Doctor. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And with that, guys, if everything's done on story number 1, we move on to story number 2. Oh dear, Carole Ford. All Hands on Deck. Somewhat of a misleading title, but what I've got to say about this story is spiders and custard and bears. Oh my. Opening thoughts, AJ?
Yeah, I really like this story for Carole Ford. It sort of continues after her son has died and her husband is gone. She's just alone now, living in Coal Hill School with a bunch of other people. Just the day-to-day trudgery of being on Earth, which was not too bad of a story I liked.
All right. Timbo, how was this for you, mate?
Well, I'm thinking this one feels like more of a prequel to the box set than the other one did, because I'm wondering if they're going to follow up on this and have Susan appear at some point. I'm not sure. But I mean, in other words, by the end of the story, she's actively engaged with joining the Time Lords, apparently, to do her part, whereas it's interesting they have a clash of opinion on this, because he doesn't want to bother with it, like Phil just pointed out. He's washed his hands of it, and he's just going to play around in the margins and help when he can, but she decides to actually go to Gallifrey and take an active part in it. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, it's interesting for everybody always moaning, bitching and complaining what happened to Susan during the Time War. Well, new Big Finish have gave you an answer. Some people might gripe that that's too predictable, but tough shit, that's what you go. Philip?
You know when you say that all hands on deck, you don't know, well, it doesn't have a thing to, but that kind of does tie in with the end product of what happened. She's being called to arms by her own people. So it's all hands on deck.
I'll give you that, but the whole subplot with the robotic spiders, which she planted anyway, and
to keep her from answering the Tesseract.
Yeah, and
which is very selfish of him. I mean, come on. She wanted to do what she wanted to do, and she did point that out in the story. You told me you control what happened to me in my life when I was younger. This is my turn to do what I want to do, and I want to fight the Time War.
Yeah, it's kind of turnabout, isn't it? It's turnabout time. Oh no, Granddad. So or soon to be Grand Being, but
and I do think, as Tim alluded to, maybe she will be in the box set, because in a sense, why set that up if we're not going to see nothing of her beyond it? So I reckon we will see her in the box set at some point.
I know, it's maybe for something down the road with Carole herself. Well, all hands on deck.
Oh yeah, this was more closer to getting to the Time War box set, because like you said, we never knew what happened with Susan, or was she involved at all. So now that we got that answer, also we got another answer that we knew maybe from the beginning that Susan's not her real name, and maybe in time we're gonna, well, it's in the novels, but people bitch want to go about that. So maybe if she appears in the Time War, maybe we get to find out finally what is her first name, like that. But also mentioned that she is a Time Lord, because again, people thought that maybe she wasn't, or half and all that. If she wasn't, they wouldn't send her the thing unless the war is that desperate now that everybody has to get called in.
Yeah.
But it's a sad thing. Also, it's a sad because the Doctor tried his best to protect Susan from getting involved in all this shenanigans, especially when he dropped off on Earth after the on Dalek invasion of Earth. And of course, like AJ said, that she lost her son, again because of the Doctor and the Daleks like that, and then she's all alone. It was good how she remembers. She was a student there over 200 years ago, and of course the tree that was planted for Ian and Barbara was still there, even though it had, of course, had to get trimmed a little bit. But so in a way, it's gonna have to. She's gonna have whether people like it or not. She's gonna have to appear in at least one story in the Time War, because we got to find out what happened with her, because the way the day of the Doctor showed it, it really gave no answers to a lot of things, which is getting a little fed up with, because there was a lot of people on Gallifrey that we know that we haven't heard nothing about. The only one now that we knew for certain was Leela, because she appeared in the War Dr. Box set.
Yeah.
So now we got to find out what's going on with some of the other characters that we haven't known nothing about.
Can I just pick you up, Will, on Susan's name? Back in the 20th anniversary Radio Times issue that celebrated Doctor Who's 20th anniversary, they actually named her Lady Larn.
Yeah, I know. I heard that one, and there's another name that popped up from a book or something. I forgot, but that's weird.
All right. Well, that's a discussion for another day, and we'll let them all fight about that on Gallifrey base. But for me, this was decent. It took a while to get going for me. I don't know what it was. It's no bad, but it's just boiling custard and robotic. It basically picked up when the Doctor arrived for me. Before that, I was kind of just no my cup of tea for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. Carole Ann Ford was fine. It was just the basis of the story didn't grip me that much. But when McGann showed up and you find out he's the one that's planted the spiders to stop her from answering the call to arms, so to speak, and then you get the
fake meteor or whatever it was.
And I also find it interesting that she can work the sonic screwdriver, not a problem as well. Go figure.
That's probably a toolkit of Gallifrey itself.
Yeah. So, no, but for me, as I said, it picked up the last 10, 15 minutes for me. I know you've got a resolution where, they wouldn't end it that way if they're only going to pick up on it sometime down the road. So, hopefully the day or a new thread will be getting created on forums like that. So,
actually, saying that, I reckon for them doing that, she will fight in the Time War, and I think this is where they will kind of cheekily have her killed in the Time War and regenerate. Well, not killed, but get injured, and then she regenerate into a new Susan. That could be.
That's
fan fiction.
Hang on.
I'm just seeing it.
That's fan fiction until if and when they do it. If they do it, that's a route they could take, but that's just pure speculation, Phil.
I know. I'm just laying out that footstep and saying maybe that's what they want to do.
Well, that depends if Carole Ann Ford wants to get it by. You just don't know. It's up to them and it's up to her. So anyway. Right, so with that, guys, quickly, because I've just caught the time on it. Anything stand out for you in this tale apart from the boiling custard, Tim?
Well, I agree with you. That was a bit silly, but I just have to say I know it gave them a whole new direction to go in as far as stories and stuff, but I don't really like this Time War idea at all, to be honest, because I think it's an impossibility. Because if a war involves time, you can't have any solid timeline. It's going to be forever changing and being rewritten by the villains versus the other villains. You know what? You're going to have Daleks fighting Time Lords. You have Time Lords not acting like Time Lords anymore. And it's all a good idea. It gives you a lot of ideas for stories. But, I mean, it seems impossible to me.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't think you're going to get anything else beyond McGann's fourth box set. And there's only so far they can go with that. So
that's what I mean. It was a good idea to start telling these kind of stories, and that's why they brought it up with the new series. I mean, RTD brought it. I guess he created it or whatever. But it's something in the Doctor's past. But the truth is, it should be something that every Doctor has known about because it's all over time and space. I mean, it's not just it's not an event that you're building up to, or it's not an event that's happened. It's something that should be happening all the time. You get my point? That's why I'm saying it's
I know what you mean. So like, because I remember in the audio we did a review how the Seventh Doctor found out something that was activated because of the Time War, So he knew that it was coming. So he already knew that. And since
My
the
point
time-
though is that he
No,
should have
no.
already known because it's already
Yeah,
been there
no.
in time and space throughout history.
that means in reality, all the doctors should know because somebody should have went back in past, probably to assassinate one of them, and that it jumps around like that.
Plus, since all the doctors appear in the 50th anniversary, they all played a part in the reversal of the Time Lords being gone. So I mean, in other words, they all showed up and did their bit, all 13 or whatever. So it's like you see what I mean? It's an impossible concept that you can't really get your head around since it takes place in time.
Well,
it would have been 14,
No.
but she hit the wall. So,
Yeah, well, behave yourself. She's not even here yet and you're starting that guard, man. All right. No, I get your point, Finn. It's a point well made, and that's something that the writers are going to have to explain as they keep going doing this path. But as I say, I don't think you'll get anything else beyond McGann's fourth set because he's off to, by right, he should be off tonight, the Doctor, come the end of that set. And that is a prequel to John Hurt's 4 sets, so you know what happens there. Philip, it's on it for you. Beside the custard.
You know what? Not necessarily, because it was a very sedate story. Bland, sedate story. I mean, the only things I did like was the fact how she tricked him in the sense of, oh, go and get something from the TARDIS while I go back and get ready to go. And then she locks the door and she answers the Time Lord's messages, and then she buggers off with them.
Okay.
In their wardrobe TARDIS.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that line, bitch in the wardrobe again. AJ.
Yeah, for me, I had a flashback. Remember in Tennant's second last season of Doctor Who, where he's confronted by Rassilon and the Time Lords, where they've got those people who got their hands covering their faces like the weeping angels.
The last episode. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was Susan in a different incarnation.
I have no idea.
She actually turned against the Time Lords after the fact that she saw so much atrocity that she didn't want anything more to do with it and tried to, go around them.
That's a possibility.
Because they never named her.
Yeah.
Sorry, because they never named her.
Yeah.
No.
But this also stood out good because Susan realizes that the Time Lords, started in a way the Time War because of sending the Fourth Doctor.
All right.
The part of Genesis of Dalek. So and she realized that. So that really stood out. Like Tim said, I got the fun and finish is going to appear in one of the Time War box sets. So we're going to find out what's going on. All
right. Well, if they do that, fine. I just say that I don't think that the beginning ended to a story that's picking up on it somehow. You could be here all day arguing about the relevance and how the Time War can actually be resolved. Tim's got a good point with regards to that, but hell, that's why it's up to the writers to keep panning out creative and different stories, I guess. Right, guys. Open mic portion of the cast on both stories quickly. Anything else you want to bring up before we get this rated and in the can?
Well, the only question is, will they make more short trips based using the Time War as the plot? That's the thing. Because these two are going into this box set that's coming out.
I don't think there'll be too many more. No, I wouldn't think so. For the same reasons Tim just alluded to. I mean,
yeah,
you'll get a few, I think. But you're right. There's only so many stories you can tell unless you make up stories with previous Doctors. Unless the Time War is like a big mystery that only comes into focus when you get to the 7th or 8th Doctor. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know, because they're basically retconning a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to look at it as one solid timeline. But my point is, if you actually duel out a Time War, you're playing with time. You're changing time. You're rewriting time. So I mean, there's no one clear way to look at it because you're going to be forever changing events. So. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry to go on, but you make perfect sense because since this is a Time War, something could happen. Like somebody from the new series now could end up going back in time and getting involved with a Time War story like that without them even realizing. Doctor tried to do. Yeah, he tried to go back and stop it from being done. You can have that all the time, and one person. In fact, the Time War could end with the Time War never even happening.
There you go. I mean, Baker goes back to Genesis, and then Capaldi goes back to when Davros was a kid. It's all one big gumbo fucking mess, man.
Yeah.
So there you go. Right, guys. If there's nothing else, it's that time again.
We send out our condolences to the family of Tom Petty on his loss.
Yes. They're going on
and of course, Trevor Martin.
And Trevor,
from yesterday. Yes.
Trevor Martin as well. So condolences to all involved. Okay. Right, guys. Doctor Who Short Trips, Volume 7, A Heart on Both Sides and All Hands on Deck. Sarah Sutton and Carole Ford. Okay, Heart on Both Sides. AJ, what do you give it out of 10, man?
I'm going to give that one a 7.5 out of 10. It was a decent story.
Okay, and All Hands on Deck?
6.5 out of 10. It was a good story, but it wasn't as action-packed.
Okay. Timbo, same question to you, mate. Sarah Sutton first up.
9.
And Carole Ford?
7.
There you go. Well, what does NYC say today, mate?
For the Heart on Both Sides, I give it a 9.
Mm-hmm.
It is the first time you actually do listen to a Dr. Kiss's companion. You know, the fifth never did that. And on the second one, I give it an 8. Like, you know, like AJ said, you know, could have been more better written like that. But
Okay.
again, like Tim said, Susan will appear again at Time War. So
Who knows? And down to the birthday boy, where all the Jews rely in Tottenham. Philip, what do you reckon?
For Heart on Both Sides, that was a more engaging story than the next one. So I give that one a total of 8.5.
Right.
Right. And for All Hands on Deck, or whatever it's called, it was okay for a while, but then, as you said, it picked up at the end, towards the end. And because of that picking up, and because it also has a potential to lead on to something more, I'm going to give that one. I'm going to give that a 6.5.
Okay, and for me, Sarah Sutton gets an 8.5 and A Heart on Both Sides. Carole Ford, nothing today with her acting job. She was good in it. It's just the story didn't really grip me that much up until the Doctor arrived in the last 10-15 minutes. So to that end, I'll give you that a 7. It's the highest I can go with it, folks. But it opens up many possibilities down the road for that character.
yeah,
so,
as long as the director of these two stories keep going in, I'm good for it.
Yes, okay, well, shout out to our buddy Elisa before he kicks me in the groin. So, yeah, there we go. Top job, Lisa Barrowman. Okay, and with that, guys, we're done, dusted, and done for another evening. To the panel, as always, thanks for your attendance. Well, just leaving me to tell you what we're doing next week. We're going to start the 1963 trilogy for the next few weeks, folks, with good old 5, 6, and 7. First up, Peter Davison. And Phil?
I can't remember the full title.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's called Fanfare for the Common Men.
There you go. We're going back to the 60s with the Beatles, and we're going to sing Penny Lane. So, yeah, we look forward to tackling that one with good old number 5. As always, guys, please check out our buddies on the Wackety Wonderful World of the YouTube. You get the guys and dolls out at Geeks Assembled with their TV and movie reviews and their audio heads. You get Dr. Freedom and his news broadcast, his Omega Files, whenever we get into doing them these days because they keep getting cancelled.
Slow down, you've got 6 minutes.
And, The Adventures of Dr. Freedom and Eric, as well as Geordie Blues, Sammy Carter, Mike Shannon, whenever he's online, like, share, comment, subscribe. And now I'm going into detox after a night of beverage indulgence last night. I have my bottle here, and with that, we're getting the hell out of here. Be excellent to yourself, folks, and each other, and we will see you yonder. Take
Happy
care.
Columbus Day.
Indeed. For all you guys who sailed the Ocean Blue in 1492, enjoy your day off tomorrow. Good night, folks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.